yeah, my 20s has taught me, honestly, overall, I think independence is a huge one for me.
Yeah.
I feel like just back to the whole like moving out, being on my own, adulting, I don't know, however you say that. But yeah, really learning just how to cope with things on my own, and like with anxiety. Like I thought at one point, I thought that I conquered anxiety. I was like,
what a
like,
joke.
because it's so funny, because when I was younger, anxiety to me was panic attacks. Like I would start to like shake, and my hands would get all clammy, and my heart would race, and I would feel really, really, really nauseous. And my mind would just be spinning, and like my hands would go all like numb and tingly. And I would have these episodes. They'd last for about like 30 minutes or so, and then they'd end, and I'd feel like I ran a marathon. I need to like go sleep or something. But yeah, I would feel like nauseous. Like I'd always have this fear of vomiting. Like I have phobia of vomiting. Like on top of the bug thing, I have phobia of vomiting. So if I ever had a panic attack and I felt nauseous, and like I was in a public place and I had like nowhere to go, that would give me even more anxiety and make it even worse. But yeah, like that used to be anxiety for me. And I feel like as soon as I started being able to cope with the panic attacks, and you know, like really, I guess, find my coping strategy through that, and even my mind shift to when I like almost could feel like I was about to have an anxiety attack, being able to be like, you know what, this is not going to happen, and like turn it around. Because your mind is a powerful thing. Like if you're able to tell yourself something, like it changes everything.
It's
as soon as you have that power, it's like, it's huge, right? And so I got to the point where like I wasn't having anxiety attacks anymore. I wasn't feeling sick. I thought like, oh, like I conquered anxiety. But my anxiety showed up in other places.
In different ways.
Yeah.
Here's other ways. I feel like about mental health, and it's funny that you're saying that, because on my list of things that I've learned, mental health matters is a huge
100%. Yes.
It's a huge one. And I said it in the last episode, and I'll say it again, guys, like take care of your mental health, prioritize this. It matters. It's important. Like your mental health like matters in your 20s, in your 30s, in your like 40s, in your 50s, it matters. It's your head, your mind, and what all the emotions that you feel are like something. This is the longest relationship you'll have ever. So prioritize that. And I don't think that with mental health, there's a lot of mechanisms that are like, you know, we tend to turn it down and not to give it the importance that we need to give it to. And I feel like mental health struggles always, when you grow and you've learned to kind of cope with what you were saying, kind of like how to fix a certain like panic attacks or like triggers that you're having, like things like that, it always shows up in a different way. It's like you close a window and like another opens, and it's just so annoying, you know. It's very annoying. And you got to be on top of that. You just have to. And for me, I feel like I didn't think I had anxiety. Like I knew I was prone to depression. But I didn't think anxiety was a huge thing for me until last year with work. And
I see.
And it was bad. And I shut down. I just completely shut down. You know? And I was having anxiety attacks too. I was having panic attacks too. I was crying. I couldn't sleep. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I learned to manage that at the end of the day. You know, it's just, it's what you said, your brain.
For me, and like for me, when I'd be having a panic attack or just about to, like, I would just, like, I'd almost like let myself go there because I thought it was like the end of the world.
The only
thing, I don't know. And like, I know like the anxiety runs in my family, and I've heard it also be like thought about like you're having a heart attack. For me, it's not necessarily like that. I think it was more mentally, and then my body reacted to like, you know, my thoughts and stuff like that. And sometimes I have to say, sometimes it is uncontrollable. But I think I got to a good point where like I wasn't having them as frequently. Like before, I would always, for me, it was weird. I would like wake up in the middle of the night and start having them.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'd be
yeah,
sleeping
yeah.
and I'd wake up and like, oh, like I just get so anxious.
Yeah.
And it's not even like I was thinking anything. I just like start shaking all of a sudden. It's like a very physical reaction to just like the stress of your life in general. And yeah, honestly, it's not fun to go through. But I'm so glad I've gotten to the point where I have very infrequent anxiety attacks. I rarely experience them anymore, which I'm really glad about. But last year, instead of anxiety, I felt like I went through definitely a state of depression, and that was when, you know, I went through therapy and like all this stuff. But yeah,
which
like
was a blessing.
Yes, which was a blessing. Yes, go to therapy. If you feel like, you know, if you want someone to talk to, if you need that, you should definitely do it. I would recommend it for sure. Therapy is great. I had a great experience, and for me, I feel like it was a different experience because I always had anxiety in my life, but depression, it's so different. Like, and I knew that it was like a mental health concern. Like I knew that there was something off with me. But it's a totally different thing. Depression is like when you're focused on things in the past and you're carrying it with you very heavily. Anxiety is worrying about the future. Anxiety is all about the future. And to me, I was very focused on things, worrying about the future when I was, I guess, younger and like I just moved here.
Yeah.
And then after some things happened in my life while I was here, I realized that I was constantly hung up on things that happened in the past experiences, like, you know, things that I said that I wish I didn't, and like, you know, replaying it in my head and beating myself up and getting to a point where I was really depressed. And
I know.
Yeah. And it was not fun, but
it's funny because we had it opposite. Like I experienced depression first. You experience anxiety first, and then I experienced anxiety later, and it manifested in different ways, right?
Yes, definitely.
And
definitely.
I feel like it feels like depression is just it's the worst. Like
honestly, it is. It's really bad. It's just very dark. Like when I think back to that time period, so dark.
Yeah.
And everything's usually very pink around here.
I know, it's really pink. And,
so
and for me, it was this endless cycle where like I kept falling and falling and falling and falling and falling. And you know, like you never feel like you're picking up.
You feel like, is this it? Like it's just gonna keep going this way?
Keep going this way.
Is this all that life is? Is this all I'm living for? Like, you know, there's all these questions.
And also I feel like
it becomes really dark.
I feel like the darkest thing about depression is that you never really go when it's going to go away. You never know when it's going to end. And that's the scariest thing. And I feel like that's why I was talking about trauma before. And I feel like I need to say very loud and clear, guys, deal with your trauma. Like,
yes,
and
head on.
Try to be self-aware to what your trauma is. And I know I have a lot of imposter syndrome. I know I have a lot of self-worth issues. I know I have daddy issues, clearly. I know I have like abandonment issues, a lot of abandonment issues. I know I have trust issues. This is stuff that I'm very, very aware of, and that I know I need to really navigate and try to get better at putting in the